All right. Series 5. Remind me.
Guard recovery, arm bars, stiff arms.
Okay. So, Series 5 is from the bottom of side control. We're starting off, again, this hand is right here. Just kind of patting him on the shoulder. I'm not grabbing a handful of lapel, of gi here. My hand's just sort of patting him on the shoulder. When I put this here, I'm going to put pressure with my fingers to make a lever right here that kind of pushes his chin up a bit. This keeps him from being able to drop his head and put heavy pinning pressure on me here. It makes it really uncomfortable for him. This hand is just checking the hip over here. I never grab the hip, okay? If I put my hand in here like this and try to hold on to his hip and he switches his hip, I'm gonna get wrist locked, okay? So my hand just stays in here. This is just checking that hip. Make a little angle here. I'm gonna step, I drive my rear end out. And once I drive my rear end out, I want to get up on my shoulder. So sit up. If you look right now, I'm on the back of my shoulder blade. That's not where I want to be. I want to be on the point of my shoulder. So once I've stepped out and I've got him here like this, I'm going to do a slight crunch here just to bring my shoulder underneath. What that does is it increases the room here. So if I'm like this, bringing my knee in is kind of difficult. If I'm like this, bringing my knee in is super easy. So we're here. I'm my position, I'm blocking, I step, hip goes out, turn to the shoulder. Once I get here, bring the knee inside. From here, I'm starting to collect the arm. Now I'm into my guard. Got control of the arms. If you forget the arms, you forget the arms. Just try to get the guard right. But you should be always using any escape that you're doing or recovery that you're doing to guard to start setting up your next movement. You start looking at ways to make sure you're controlling it. Next one is the stiff arm escape. Or no, it's the arm bar. So in this one, I'm going for my guard recovery, but my opponent is kind of keeping tight check against my hip here, which is making it difficult for me to get my hip out enough to really get my guard recovery. So what I'm gonna do here, again, I'm putting that pressure in, I'm gonna step out, I'm gonna bridge. I feel this tight against my hip, so I'm gonna bridge to create some space. And as soon as I have space, I'm bringing one knee in. That knee comes in, and notice how I come to him. See how I close my hips into his body? We're here like this. Now, all I have to do is take the other leg over and catch the arm bar. It's a super tight arm bar, okay? That arm bar is super, super tight because it's already completely extended by the time you get in. So I'm here like this, I come around, boom, he's got that in, I throw the leg over, I bring my knees together. See how my elbows here got his wrist caught? His arm is extended, or drive hard, and finish off here. Next one, stiff arm escape, or the conveyor belt. So here, what I'm trying to do, Bo's got some pressure on me here. One of the things about the bottom of side control is, and the bottom of half guard as well, is you'd really like to not have this. You really wouldn't want your opponent to have this, because this allows him to control your head too much. So anytime you can clear this or keep this off, it improves your options for getting out. So right now, I've got this inside here. I'm going to take both of my hands in and I'm going to cup his bicep. So all I'm doing, bringing my hands in like this and cupping that bicep. I'm inside here, cupping the bicep. I'm going to bridge and scoot this off my head. So I come here and pop this off my head. As soon as I get it off my head, this arm is done. This arm is out of the equation. It's not being put out here. It's not being used to lift me. It's going to retract and come right into my rib cage. So as soon as I get this to here, I'm going to retract this arm into my rib cage. This arm now is going to do the work, and it's going to straighten out. And as it straightens out, I'm turning and following it. So I'm going to push his arm away, and I'm going to follow his arm. So I'm here, I push, I'm turning. Now you see with my elbow underneath of my rib cage, it starts to bring my shoulder up off the floor. That's what makes it easy for me to get up. When this is out here like this, I have to try to lift myself with my arm, and it's much more difficult. The heavier your opponent is, the less likely it is you're going to get out of there. So as I tuck this in underneath my rib cage, I roll on top of it. Notice that I am pushing towards the floor and towards my feet. I can't push this in the air because you'll just drive back to me. This is a Turkish get-up, and now I'm having weight fight me back to the floor. So I come here, I'm pushing down and towards my feet as we start to go. If he stays in this position, he's just going to roll over, and you're going to be on top. Often what they're going to do is try to keep themselves from being on their back, so they're going to fight against that to try to stay up. So I'm here, he tries to stay up. If I get here and I get caught, go to your knees, Bo. Yeah, if I get here and I get caught, I slide out. Holding this arm here, turn into me. Sit up and turn in. Hard for him to turn into me if he can't get that arm to go with him. If he could turn through it, it'd be okay, but he can't. So that's why you keep that stiff and strong. You never bend this as you're doing it. When you're coming here like this, if your arm is bent like this and you're trying, he's gonna drive you right back down. You gotta drive this out away from you. And here, when he wants to fight you back, he's way off balance. Okay? Next, we're gonna use that same setup, only this time we're gonna attack the arm. So I'm here, I'm gonna bridge, I take this off, I follow it to the wrist, I circle over, and I get a grip on this for an Americana. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back to him. It's important, when I come back to him, that my elbow goes in below his shoulder, goes into his chest. If I take this and try to turn like this with my elbow high, Bo's just gonna step over me, and now he's gonna armbar me for my foolishness. So when I come up here, I turn into him and I drop that elbow into his chest. It's low. Now if he wants to circle over me to armbar me, he can't. Go ahead. Because his arm and shoulder are getting stuck. So we're here, I'm inside, boom, I drive to this. Once I get here, now we're back to that thread the needle again. I'm pushing his wrist back to the floor. Take my leg through, drive. Well, as soon as he falls, I'm here on my stomach. I get to my knees, and then I sit up and I pull him to me. Once I pull him up to me, I'm gonna step up one leg behind his back. The other leg steps over the head. I go back, and then here, I hit my arm. Remember, never fall back until you've come over top the head. If you start falling back before you get over the head, you give them all the room to follow you up to the top. That was the 10-step arm bar. All right.